Are we ready? So before we get started, I know lots of parents will have questions in regards to eloping and what that means. So Joline will answer the questions at the end of her talk. And if there are multiple questions that are quite similar, I'll summarise it so then she can answer them effectively and efficiently.
Yes, we're all about efficiency here.
I'm ready to start if you're ready to start.
Yeah.
I think we've got a fair bit on, yeah, and it's recorded anyway so people can watch. So I guess as a speech pathologist, I was quite scared, if that's a nice way to put it, and worried about the young boy named Hussein who went missing last week. And I guess not working with that vulnerable community, the impact that it has on not only his family but also the autism community too, because it's the unknown. They're not they don't. There's that saying that they don't have fear in them, that they're not aware of fear, they don't get scared because of that flight response that a neurotypical child would have. And so just from your perspective, given that your Mr. J is autistic, what were the thoughts that resonated with you in that moment when you heard a young boy with Down syndrome, non-verbal and autism that's quite similar age to Mr. J? How did you feel? Like, I was just so upset when I heard that.
I just got goosebumps as you said that. To be honest, eloping, which we're going to talk about in a minute, or your child going missing, is one of the biggest fears of autism carers. It is one of my biggest fears, and I actually have recurring nightmares, believe it or not, because it's at the back of my mind, of Mr. J disappearing. I could trillions of dreams I could tell you about. So when I heard that, my heart dropped, because straight away I thought I felt for the child, I felt for the parents, because I know exactly how I'd feel. I can touch up on, we've had him missing for 5 to 7 minutes, and it's a complete nightmare. So as soon as I heard that, I thought, what can I do to help? Because the first thing you want to happen when your child elopes or runs away is for everyone to help. You want everyone's eyes out there on, looking for your child, because you just want your child found and you want them to be safe. That's the biggest thing. So, yeah.
I found it really interesting that in the first few hours or the first day that he was missing, everyone was describing what he was wearing, but then it just came to me as a speechy that children with autism get quite overwhelmed and frightened with large groups of people. So it wasn't until the second day when they started to tap into what he's interested in to hopefully get him alert. So I suppose that Bohemian Rhapsody song, he liked that.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess when you said when your child goes missing, you get in that, quick fight mode, we have to find them now. But it's about reflecting, understanding what can encourage your child to be found and what are their interests to help find them. So I'm just going off on a tangent. So I guess the concept of eloping is so foreign to so many. Like, as I said in my story last week, eloping to the general public means getting hitched. Yeah. Why is it that term eloping and not using a concept such as a child's gone missing?
Yeah, look, well, eloping, like you said, there's two meanings to it. One of them is eloping, getting hitched, running off and getting married without, doing anything or telling anyone. And it's a very similar concept for eloping when it comes to autism or children being missing. So with eloping, what it actually means in the autism world, or when, for children, it is actually running away or wandering off from a safe space or a caregiver. Okay, whether it's a support worker, whether it's your parents, whoever it is, just escaping from there and wandering or running off. There's two. So I'll explain what it is so everyone knows what it is when we go into our further detailed questions. So that's what eloping means. Now, why do they elope?
Yeah, why do
we can just go into that quickly so they know why. Yeah. So the reason why they elope, there's a few reasons. So one of them could be that they are overstimulated in their area. So it could be too much noise and they're very sensitive to noise. It could be that, you know, too many lights, anything. So something is overstimulating. They just want to get away. So any chance they get. So if they see someone open a door, you're not watching it for five seconds, they're gone. They're gone as quick as they can, because to them, in their mind, this is how their brain is wired. They just want to escape, and they will do. They're very, very smart kids. So they'll do anything they can to get out. Whereas other kids probably think, oh, I better stay close to mom, or I better ask mom, or, you know, whereas these children, they're just very hyper focused. And when they want something, they'll do anything to get to it.
It's like
So the other one
quite
is,
internalized. Yeah, like they're quite internalized in
that's right.
this is a very uncomfortable feeling for my sensory system. I'm overwhelmed by the noise. Like, for example, the Easter show or something like that might be overwhelming with lots of people, the noise, the sounds, the crowd, and they just want to feel regulated again, and they want to escape that. Okay, interesting. So
there's two more reasons actually before we move on. So that's one. The other two reasons is, the other one is that, like I said, they're hyperfixated. So children usually on the spectrum are very hyperfixated, and when they really like something, or they feel like getting to something, like just say they feel not regulated, and to them they love playing with water. Water regulates them, water calms them. If they can't get it where they are, they will think, oh, I know there's a creek across the road, and if the door opens and they feel like it, they will go just heading towards that creek without thinking about crossing any streets, without thinking of any dangers, or that I'm going to go missing. They just want to get to that water. That's all that is in their mind. They're fixated on, and that's another reason. So usually something they want to get to, whether it's a toy they saw at a shop and mum didn't get it, and I want to get it now. It's, oh, it's open, I know where that shop is, and they just try to go find that shop. Or and the third one actually is playing a game. So Mr. J used to do this a lot. His house doesn't do it so much now, but he would literally just run, whether in the park, wherever we are, he would literally just run and then laugh and turn around to see if I'm chasing him. For him, it was a game. But for me, it was like trying to catch up with the fastest thing in the world, and I'm not the fittest person. So it is very crazy and freaky, especially when you're near a creek. We were at a park near a creek, and he'd run towards the creek just because it's a game. It's a game to them. So those two reasons are the common reasons usually that autistic children will just run off or walk off. And it's very
I guess even when
common.
when you described before that a neurotypical child, you know, wouldn't feel comfortable leaving their parent and would stay close, why is it the hypervigilant or what was the term? Hypervigilant, is that the term you used? Hyperfocused.
Yeah.
Is that why it's more common with children that are on the spectrum, or are there any other reasons why?
There are other reasons, yeah, because usually it's more than just autistic. A lot of the higher percentage of children that do go run off or wander off usually have both are autistic and also have an intellectual disability. So they don't understand the consequences. They don't understand that this is going to put me in danger, because they're not at that level yet. Just like, you know, a toddler will go touch something hot and you're like, oh, it's hot. Exactly the same. Like, they're not at that level yet, especially if they're globally delayed. They don't understand yet, you know, that cans and can't do's.
Okay. And I guess that if a child that was neurotypically developing touched the fire, they have learnt from that experience, and therefore they're not going to touch it again. Whereas a child with autism and likely an intellectual disability, they haven't learnt from that experience for them to not do it again. They haven't got that risk factor or the cause and effect.
Yeah, but even if they have, remember, I think it takes over. So like I said, if it's something they need to get away from, no matter what, they will do it. They don't think, they won't think of the consequences, even if they know it might, to them, that might be dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as what I'm feeling right now. So I don't know exactly how they think, but that's what I'm thinking.
Every child's different, I guess. I guess we know that they're quite goal driven, and they need to get to the end of their task, and regardless what's in their way, they're going to achieve it. So I guess the questions that we were all feeling with Hussein with Miss is like, the question is, we know now the reasons why he may do that, but how can parents try to reduce the risk of that happening, or even prevent it from happening? I guess from my experience from working with children that are autistic, it would be understanding their sensory system, understanding what are their triggers, understanding that these environments aren't ideal for your child, so let's go to another environment. What are your thoughts of that?
Yeah, that's actually one thing that I was going to mention. So you've hit the nail on the head with that one. So the first one is yes. So as we know, they're very hyperfixated on certain things, or if they're very overstimulated, they want to get away. So it is understanding, okay, does my child hate noisy places and they want to get away. So there's a couple of things, either avoiding, and sometimes you can't avoid these
No,
places if it's events
can't.
or family, but what you can do is reduce that feeling that they get in regards to having, headphones, bringing headphones, being prepared, having tools that will help them regulate if you know what they normally like at home, that makes them feel safe, or even finding out if you go to a venue, just say it's noisy, is there a quiet room around here, and you know that you can take them there to escape that, overstimulating area. That's one of them. And the other one is preventing through safety tools, whether it's at home or if it's, I don't know about school, but with home, you can do things like, a lot of people don't know that you can actually put alarms on doors. So if your child is, because that day that Hussein went missing, that last 48 hours, I had mums messaging me telling me their child was missing. Some for 30 minutes, some for 5 hours, where police were involved, but they weren't on the news because you don't hear about it unless it becomes big and it's days on. But but basically alarms on doors. So if your child goes and opens the door, you don't realize, putting alarm on doors, putting a gate outside the door if you can, if it's possible, because that way when they get out, at least they can't go anywhere. The other one is even having I was going to say, even hiding keys, because what happens is they get to an age, or locking doors, make sure they're locked and hide your keys, because they start getting to an age where they start understanding and they're able to open doors, and people find out for the first time the hard way. And it's not worth waiting. Always have your doors locked with a key and hide the key, because as they're getting 8, 9, 10, 11, they're getting older and wiser and smarter, and they will figure it out. They'll say, oh, yeah, I've seen mum do that. And they're very, they learn very quickly, and they'll repeat what they see. So just doing that as well, that can prevent it. And like I said, having tools when, and the other one is also tracking devices.
It's just okay, we've got to slow it down a little bit, Joline. You mentioned all these really useful tips here.
Yep.
I'm just thinking, how does a parent that has a child that's newly diagnosed with autism, where do they access? Do they have to work closely with the occupational therapist who's quite experienced in the sensory aspect, or do they have to talk to the NDIS support worker to access those alarms that you spoke about? Now, you were informed all this great information, but many parents just don't know how to access that. What's your tip with knowing the strategies to access it?
Yep. So it's actually both of those. So in regards to their sensory needs and tools, your OT can help with that and can let you know, these are the tools that your child will need or will help them. And the other one is regarding alarms. Two things. You can research it yourself. There's one called NUTAG. That's a good brand for
Do you have that on
tags.
could you put that up as a story today just so parents can access it?
Yep. Yeah, I'll put it up as a story. So NUTAG, NUTAG, that's Australian brand, and they have 5G. So whether your child goes even interstate, you can track them. But basically, it's two things: tag, where you can put it onto their clothing or somewhere where they won't remove it. And the other one is watches. So if they do wear watches, there's watches you can actually lock on where they can't take it off, or no stranger can take it off. So they're quite good, yeah. So that's usually an NDIS. Yes, you need to speak to your NDIS, coordinator, LAC, to ask them in regards to if you have that specific funding to be able to get safety. If not, do request a change of circumstance and say, my child now elopes, it's dangerous, we need to look at including that. So definitely those three things.
Now, you've listed a whole heap of actual tangible products that the parents can access, but I also feel education is also really important. Do you offer, I guess part of this Eloping series, would you be discussing this in quite detail with other professions as well, or is there a resource that parents can access to understand this aspect a little bit more?
Sure. Yes, like you mentioned, we're doing a series, so we're actually trying to do it over different, a variety or different aspects. So one of them is our interview. I've had posts I've put up, but they weren't very detailed. I actually have a very detailed blog coming up by a great psychologist that will be very detailed, especially from a psychologist's perspective in regards to the child and family. So that will be detailed. And also we'll have, we're actually going to have a resource on our website within a week. So keep an eye out, guys. That's actually going to be
Oops, there you are.
whoops. So the other one is we're actually going to have a resource on our website, and that is a tool you can use if it happens. And that is, like you said, all the information, about who they are, what they like, so you can distribute that if they go missing, and it'll be something easy that you can have on hand. You can post on your socials, on the news website, anything, you know, because these tools are really important to have. And like you said, awareness, just raising awareness, sharing all these.
That's interesting. No, thank you for that. I guess now my question is, in the moment when your child elopes, what do you do? What do you do? I guess if my child went missing, it's a whole different ball game. Like, you would definitely contact the police, you would look everywhere, you would track your steps, you would describe what they were wearing, continuously call out their name and ask for support. But I'm sure the procedure is very different for a child that is that has autism. What are your suggestions for that?
Well, unfortunately, I can speak from experience. Like I said, Mr. J has gone missing in the past.
Do you feel comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, I'm fine to talk about it. So basically, and this is another thing, actually, we should bring this up because I really want to raise awareness about how this happened and how it's happened to numerous people, actually, that mentioned it when I spoke about this. And that is in gated playgrounds or gated areas. Now, when you put your child in a gated area, you trust that they're locked in there, and of course you're watching, but if you turn around, you know that they're still going to be there. They're not going to climb over. They're in a gated area.
Like a flip
now, unfortunately,
out kind of aspect, like when you're at flip out or monkey mania. Yeah.
That's right. Those, or like even, you know, like the play centers, they've got that toddler section, or if, you know, for younger kids, any place like that, or even, and we were actually at Frankie's, Milpera Frankie's factory, which is, that's gated as well. That's Milpera. That's a cafe there, and that's where Flower Power is. So we were actually there when this happened, and I specifically got a table right in front of the playground, the gate, so he doesn't come out, or if he does, I see him. And basically, I kept watching over, making sure he's there and talking. And the one moment that I turned around to say something to my friend, and then when I turned around, I thought, let me just make sure Mr. J's still in there. Couldn't find him. I'm like, no, I'm must be not seeing him. You know, he's behind a kid, because there's definitely a gated area. He has to be there. And then panic set in when I realized he was no longer there. So we couldn't find him, and he was nowhere to be seen around us where the cafe is. So at this stage, I had my 11-year-old son with me, his sibling, and I try to stay calm. So we can have a plan as much as we want in regards to when our child goes missing, what we do. But having a plan and going through it are two different things. Like, you don't.
Can I just interrupt you there? Like, I guess you say have a plan, but I've been to Frankie's and it's quite congested with all the tables, and it's like a maze. And then you've got the floral section, and then you've got the cafe section. It's like he was a little mouse running through, and you're trying to find this child that looks like every other child there. Yeah, which way? And
so, you know,
imagine how you would have felt in that moment.
Oh, it was hell. I literally, at first I tried to stay calm. As I said, my other son was with me, so I wanted to make sure I was calm for him. And I was looking around, I noticed he's not around, and sorry, excuse me. The hardest thing was knowing which way he went, because it's like, do I go this way or that way? So we had a door right next to where we were sitting, and it led to a massive car park, like just bush and car park. So you can imagine my face when I realized that door was open, and I thought maybe he went through there, or did he go to and I'm like, I don't want to lose time. So the first thing you do is you panic, thinking, am I going the wrong way? Am I losing time? Because if I'm going this way and he went the other way, this is how people think, oh, he can't be too far. Yeah, but which way? That's the biggest concern when they go missing. Which way? Which way did he go? We had bush behind us and a highway in front, so you can imagine how scared I was. After 5 minutes, I lost everything, and my panic went into extreme, and I lost it basically. And then my son lost it because he was with me, and he thought, that's it, he's gone. It was terrible. He still has PTSD till today, unfortunately, about this. So it is crazy. And and then luckily we ended up finding him after 5 to 7 minutes. A worker found him in the flower shop. Luckily, it's a bit hard to get out of the flower shop, so he didn't end up on the highway in the car park. So it would have been really bad. But it is really bad. So that's what goes through your mind. Like, the first thing is which way did they go? And people were asking me, they were like, how does he look? Give us a photo. And I grabbed my phone, but I was so lost in that moment that I thought, I don't want to waste my time even unlocking my phone. So you're in this panic and urgency state. You just think, no, I just want to keep looking, and you're just yelling out, he looks like this, and you're running everywhere trying to find him in a panic, basically. That's how and everyone's different.
You said have a plan. but in the moment, the plan just goes out the window. So it's
Well, I
about what's
didn't
the
have a plan.
realistic way. Yeah. What's the realistic way to support parents that if their child does elope, what could have happened? What could you do differently?
Yep, actually, someone, my friend who was with me at the time, just messaged, just made a comment saying staff made an announcement over the PA to alert everyone in the centre. So we requested, I was yelling out to them, I'm like, can you please announce it? And they're like, oh, we need to wait because we need to talk to Flower Power. But I was just like, tell everyone, just tell
Just
everyone.
announce it. It's a missing child. Yeah.
Yeah, just announce it. Yeah, but that was yeah, that was a very scary moment. But yeah, I think that's the first thing that happens. So having a plan is probably like I said, like even if you on your phone keep it like that tool that we'll have soon, the resource of, you know, information about them. It's at hand. You can't sit there like going, oh, they like this. Like at that moment you're panicking. You don't have time to think about that stuff.
I bet. I guess the best thing is, yeah, notify staff, describe, and then it's so challenging. But in that moment, if you were your child, where would you go? And I guess in your child's case, he
That's
went to
right.
somewhere that wasn't as overwhelming, noisy, and needed that little retreat just to probably regulate himself too.
Yeah, well, they found him on a seat, like a couch thing, and he loves sitting on couches. So I thank God that they had that couch in. Otherwise, he would have probably kept walking until he found the exit. But there was literally a couch outside the inside, but outside the cafe in Flower Power, and he was sitting there and he was happy, like nothing happened. And that's the other thing. People don't realize that's your child because he's sitting calm. He's happy. They don't panic. You know, they don't even know they're lost or don't care. They're just like, I'm just having a break. And they're probably looking for someone that, and you can even maybe explain that to them. Say, you know, he's wearing this, he's wearing that. He doesn't know he's lost. He's nonverbal. Just explain, their situation.
And even like sometimes I actually have a family friend. I know this is so irrelevant, but she has many food allergies. And whenever we go out for dinner, rather than her explaining herself all the time, she's made a little business card and she just gives it
That's
to the waiter to
smart.
say, I can't eat all of this. So when I order this dish, can you ensure that none of these are there? So I guess working closely with your speech therapist, even myself, making a social story or something as my son loves this. He does not like this. He is nonverbal, and give it to staff so they have that pre-assumed knowledge of what he is and what they're looking out for.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the impact, as you said, on your son was quite profound. He still gets PTSD from it. What's a purpose of this chat today is to prepare parents and to provide them as much information that we don't want them to go through this, but they're just aware. What was the impact on you and your family following this? Will you go back to Flower Power again?
Funny you say that, because I haven't been for a while, but I think I could return there, but I don't think I can take my son back there because I can't even mention this story in front of him. So when I try to explain people this story, I usually make sure I'm out of the room or not near him. So people don't realize the effects it actually has on family. So like I said, this was 5 to 7 minutes. You can only imagine the impact it has on families where it's been hours, where it's been days. You know, someone messaged me as well saying that her child went missing while she was at work. He was with the support worker and they were in a different area, and they called up that the child was missing for 5 hours. So the effects are tremendous. PTSD. So the families, I'm actually interviewing, a lot of you may remember AJ that went missing on the property. I'm interviewing his mum, Kelly, this week, actually. So I will be talking a lot about that as well in regards to, you know, the effects on family. Until today, it affects them. So it is a long-term thing. Yeah. So a lot of them.
You're Miss Popular today.
They never call. It's always when I'm busy.
It's now. They want to join Wine with Wita.
They want to listen to us. So the thing is, there are long-term effects, and people can get counselling or psychology help in regards to that, because it can affect you long-term, and you'll have the anxiety.
Yeah, of course. And can they access that service through NDIS as a caregiver?
Unfortunately, NDIS is only for the person with a disability or who's autistic, or they do not cater for the carers. You can claim some things through NDIS, more like parent training for the child.
I think that's It doesn't make sense that NDIS won't provide support for parents when we empower parents to be better versions of themselves so they can support their child. But if the parents are going through the anxiety and stress following their child eloping, that would have a profound impact on the way they care for their child.
The
And I guess it'd
caring,
be quite isolating. They don't want to take them out in a public area again to reduce the risk of that occurring. Can they appeal that in any way?
No, NDIS is specifically for them. They will say that you can go to, so there's a couple of things. There's Carer Gateway, which is government funded, but they only offer short-term counselling, like maybe a few sessions. It's not an ongoing thing. So then for the rest of it, you'd have to pay. And that is the reason why we started Help You Cope, because when we needed support, the carer doesn't have any. So we are now, you know, thankfully a charity that, you know, can provide services for carers for free, that they can get support. And we're going to have counselling in the near future too. So that will help a lot of carers, I think, that need it.
That's really good. Congrats on opening such a wonderful charity, Joline. And you're doing wonders, doing God's work. Yeah. I guess
yes, definitely.
I wanted to pitch it to the people that are following if they've got any specific questions to ask you, or you, Joline, if you wanted to dig deeper into any areas that we've addressed. Someone's asked, at what point do you notify the police? I guess there's quite a procedure with that, isn't there?
Yeah. Look, I don't know too much about their procedure. The thing is, I'm thinking within an hour, I would want police to know and notify everyone. But I don't know if they have a minimum time, because unfortunately, like I said, someone had their child missing for 5 hours. Even if police were notified, they were looking for him, but do they tell everyone else? Like, when does it become public? So that, you know, but with police, I think when it's a child, they're pretty good. They're very quick when it's a child involved. So if you say my child's missing, it's been over half an hour, we can't find my child. So yeah, they're pretty quick with children. So I think, yeah, within half an hour, if I can't find my child, I'll be calling the police. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if anyone's got any questions, they can ask Joline. But as we said, as I said before, Joline's running a series and she has a list of wonderful people coming on this week, Joline.
Yeah, this week I'll be interviewing AJ's mum, and also with the blog, it might be coming out end of this week or early next week. That's with a psychologist and her perspective on eloping. It's actually a great detailed post, so keep an eye out for that one. And we will be producing that tool as well, which is very helpful. Like you said, it has on there, you know, what they're interested in, what they, you know, even a photo space and their name and all the details. So if they do go missing, you've got it on hand.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to dig deeper into this topic? I guess we've covered all areas that we wanted to touch base on.
Yeah.
But I guess your story definitely made it more personalized and relatable, that it's the reality. It can happen. And it's definitely having that some sort of element of being prepared emotionally, but also having a little backup to support people helping you look for your child and understand that autism isn't as straightforward as what everyone believes it is as a typical child that would be going missing, and there are different procedures that need to be considered in that case.
I do want to add one more thing, and this is very, very important, and the whole point of me doing all these eloping series is, guys, please share this as well. Talk to anyone about it. This time it's your call.
Someone's here. I just got a package. Hold on.
That's all right. Someone's got a delivery. I'll keep talking. So basically, the biggest message I want to send to everyone is that if you are out and about in the community, you know, going on with your day, please, if you see a child that is not with their parent, I don't care what age they are, they could be 8, 10, 11, if they look like they shouldn't be on their own, okay? And I mean, like, especially in diapers, I mean, it was so obvious that Hussein had
that just shocked me. I didn't understand that. He's walking in a public transport, a train station, a child in his nappy, and no one thought this is not the norm. This, like, is everyone too afraid to approach because we're cautious of offending? I really don't understand the reasons why. I guess if you see a child crying in public, why are we worried
It's
to
straight away.
approach the child? You know, straight away, like, but if a
Yeah,
child looks distressed and is something that's just not the norm,
I know.
just approach.
Just approach
I
them.
guess there must be more awareness in our society that this isn't helpful. Like if we actually approached
Yeah.
and just notified even staff there's a child walking around in his nappy, that
Yeah.
would have
I
reduced the
think
risk.
even notifying, yeah. Look, if someone is worried about approaching them for two things, one of them, I mean, they shouldn't be worried about the child doing anything to them, but some people are worried that, like, if they approach them, because they did say be cautious when approaching.
Mm,
And what they mean is not that he's a scary child, but what they meant was that he will keep running or run away because he'll be scared. So
mm,
if that's the case, always it's very easy. Just follow him without him knowing and just keep your eye on him and stay in contact with someone. Say he's gone this way, notify someone. But I feel like these days the community is so stuck on their phones. They're not even in this world. They're not even seeing their surroundings, what's happening around them. It's really
I
sad.
agree. I
So they're
agree.
just very self-contained and just busy and very distracted, to be honest. And the other one is it's just not that hard. If you see, even if you don't want to follow, you don't have time, just call someone, notify them so they know where he's been or where he is, because there was a
Mm,
couple of sightings, but by the time they got there he wasn't there.
mm.
Just follow,
Just
just
follow the
see, make sure
child.
you don't lose sight. That's the most
Mm.
important
And
message I can send out there.
and all I could think of, if that was my child, I would be incredibly grateful for someone to just follow my child to know that they're going to be okay, you know?
That's
Just,
right. And
yeah.
there's another comment there from
Someone
Rise Up
just said,
Foundation.
I don't think it's just that. It's the culture of minding your own business. You know what? That's true. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to interfere, just minding my own
Yep.
business. And I don't
Which is
want to walk on eggshells. But I
scary.
guess if we raise awareness that it's not about minding your, that's a nice slogan actually, Jolene. It's not about minding your own business. It's about supporting
Yes.
that child, you know, and,
True.
yeah. And also
No,
understand
thanks
the
for that
worst case
question.
answer is no. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, that's basically the gist of it. But thanks to everyone asking questions, by the way.
Thanks for everyone. I don't have anyone got any questions. If they have any other questions, I'm sure you can DM Jolene and she'd be more than happy to help you, or better yet, follow her, because I think this week's quite informative, especially with AJ's mum. I'm actually looking forward to hearing her perspective. Were there people helping, especially when something doesn't feel right? I guess
Were
she's
people
referring to
helping
your
people?
experience.
Yeah, were people helping people, especially when something doesn't feel right? Exactly. Yeah, you just have to. Yeah, it didn't look right or feel right to have see a child, in that situation, and it's just it
I
boggles
guess
my
the
mind.
question's coming to you when you lost Mr. J. Were people helping you when you lost
Oh,
him? Yeah. I'm assuming that's
yeah.
what the question's directed to. Yeah.
Some people were not. Some people were just minding their. See, even in that instance, some people were just sitting there
Mm,
saying, "Oh, her child's lost." It's like, I don't know if they haven't had kids before and they didn't, it didn't affect them, so they're like, "Who cares?" But yeah, some people were just sitting there eating. But then I had mums that came over, running over, and that were helping because they know how it feels. They have children,
mm,
so they
mm,
know how worried
mm.
they'd be. Yeah, so it depends, unfortunately, but it should
Yeah.
be everyone helping out as a community. It's a
Yeah.
child at
All
the end of
coming
the day, an
together.
innocent child. Yep.
Mm, mm. Well, thank you, Jolene, for raising awareness about this topic and to inform. Your talks, would they relate to DS, Down syndrome, and autistic children? I guess from
I
my perspective,
think
many
so.
children with those developmental disabilities, they are likely to have may likely have intellectual impairments or communication impairments, and so we have to recognise their level of understanding, their level of being able to express, and their cognitive function will be quite similar to other children that have eloped. So it's about raising awareness of all children, actually for all children
Yep.
in general,
Yep.
neurotypical or with a disability, but understanding each child learns differently and express differently in each way. And as I believe in my practice, I always just talk about follow the child's lead.
Yep.
Follow the child's interests. And if we follow the child's lead, follow the child interests, you're building that connection. And by knowing that information, you have a better insight to that child specifically.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. I think, it's both. That's okay. Thanks for the
You're welcome.
questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
well,
yeah, there's spreading awareness. Yeah.
that's it. Well, thank you for spreading your magic and joy this Monday afternoon,
Likewise.
and raising an awareness for such a wonderful topic. All the best for this week, and I look forward to seeing your magic
Thank
over
you.
the week. All
Thank you.
right. Take care,
Thanks
guys,
for
and I
having
hope you
me.
enjoyed it.
Bye,
No
everyone.
problem.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
See you. Bye.